Difficult. Women.
Hey-o.
Hey-o. Hey-ho.
Hey-ho. Hey-hos. Fellow listeners. Ho.
Yeah, you hoes.
Ho.
Hey,
It
Oreos.
ain't Christmas yet, but we bring the ho.
Yeah.
I don't know. All right, enough of that.
That's good. That's adorable.
Welcome to Difficult Women. I'm Katy.
And I'm Marie. And we're in the band Reformed Whores. Get all the ho jokes.
Right. You may
If
have
you're
totally
just tuning in,
not
you're like,
gotten
what?
that reference, but that's what it is. It occurred to me the other day, we've been promoting our Patreon account. We have a Patreon account if you'd like to join us on Patreon.
Mm-hmm.
But we never clarified that to find us on Patreon, I'm not sure we ever clarified that you look up Reformed Whores, not Difficult Women.
Oh.
So I'm imagining just thousands of people are looking up Difficult Women on Patreon and not finding us.
Oh, no.
And we're
Very
missing
good
out.
point. Folks, join us on Patreon. Look up Reformed Whores, specifically on Patreon.
Not Deformed Horses, Reformed Whores. That's the different
Do we
band.
own that website?
We
that
did.
domain?
We used to, I think we still do.
We used to have
We
that
never
joke.
did anything with it.
And then people would go to deformedhorses.com and there'd be a picture of me in a horse outfit and then you in
It's like a little outfit.
a little square dancing.
Yeah.
It was cute. It was a brilliant branding.
It was supposed to
Joke
do something else that
plan.
never happened. Anyway, follow us on Patreon.
Do it.
And for those of you who don't know what Patreon is, it is a like crowd sourcing foundation place.
We got him with
You
that
know?
one.
God, I don't know. I'll work on that. That sell. But the point is that you come and you can donate.
Yeah, you basically
money,
are like subscribing. So you pay for Netflix,
terrible.
right?
We're
How
doing
much?
terrible.
How much is Netflix a month?
It's like $15.
It's like $75 nowadays.
Really?
No, I
Oh
don't
my
know.
God, is that how much I'm paying? That's why I'm so poor.
Last time I checked, it was like $11.99. I was like, when I first signed up, it was $7.99. What's
I think
happening?
mine's like 14. Why are they charging you
Huh.
11?
I don't
God.
know.
Well, so you can pay a lot less than that and get way
Yeah.
more entertainment.
That's right.
From us.
You get like behind the scenes footage, a video we're going to post soon of us going to Beyonce.
Hey ho!
That was really great.
That was great.
Some music that nobody ever should hear, but we're going to still share it.
Yeah, it's crazy. There's some songs that never quite made it, and they are fascinating. And our subscribers will be able to tap into that stuff. So,
And then also, you can listen to us on Spotify, or you can purchase any of our albums through iTunes, or you can email us and we'll send you an album. We have so many albums,
too
physical
many. If
copies.
you want an actual CD, please let us
Please,
know.
dear God. People stopped buying those a couple
Anyway.
years ago.
Yeah, it's been unfortunate for us. We made a mistake.
Yep.
Speaking of mistakes, I have a funny story.
Oh.
So this is kind of crazy. This is kind of unrelated to what we're talking about today, but it happened to me last night, and it is definitely on brand. And I just thought, I was like, I'm going to throw this out here, like this thing that happened. So
Okay.
I was, I got, I get a couple like notifications every day about people that are liking me on my
Your Tinder? Or...
yeah, all those like apps and stuff. So I got like a notification. I'm checking him out, and I see this one notification from this guy, and like there's no pictures of his face. Like every picture is like just a sliver of the side of his face, or like the bottom half of like his jaw or something. And I'm like, that's shady. Then I see on like the messaging part, or like the, when you can leave stuff about yourself, it says like something you should know about me is the prompt. And he says, I'm like not engaged, but he said something like,
Lord.
I'm like taken, or I'm already in something.
Okay.
So I was like, all right, this is interesting. Do I say something, or do I just like ignore it, swipe left, and like move on with my life? And I was going to just like be like, it's not my business, whatever. But then I was like, no, I want to talk to this guy. I'm curious, like, what's going on here.
For women everywhere?
For women everywhere. And for me personally. Yeah. And for just me and my own curiosity.
Huh.
So I like messaged him and I was like, are you married? And he wrote back immediately, yes. And I was like, what are you doing on here? And he said, I'm looking for something casual and fun. And I was like, does your wife know you're on here? And he said, no. And I was like, how long have you been married? And he said, 15 years. And I said, that's a long time. And he goes, yeah, it is. And then he started asking me questions like, what do you do? And I was like, I'm in a comedy band. I'm going to talk about you on this
Yeah,
podcast.
I'm going to talk about this.
But, and we sort of were, but I didn't want to I didn't want to talk to him. I wanted to hear what his deal was. So then finally I was like, hey, look, full disclosure.
I'm only doing research for the pod.
I'm doing research for womankind. But the truth was this. I had a situation with an ex-boyfriend where he was like messing around with people on these apps behind my back. And it like destroyed me. It was like horrible. It was horrible. So I told him that. And then I said, like, no judgment, because I do not know what your situation is. I mean, maybe his wife is in a wheelchair, or maybe, you know, she's a raging bitch. I mean, I don't really know what the situation is. So
if she had been in a wheelchair, is that what?
I mean, I don't know. Like, just meaning that, like, maybe they hadn't had sex in 14 years.
Oh, okay. I see
you know what I'm saying? Like, I just mean that, like,
and then maybe they have a situation that they
maybe they have
upon.
a situation.
Yeah.
I just don't know. So I said, like, no judgment, because I don't know your situation. But I just kind of want to, like, put that out there, that I was sort of curious to see what it's like to be on the other end of this situation that I had experienced. And also, like, these apps they can be dangerous, ... And he wrote back, he was like, to be honest, like, they are really dangerous. And I was like, yeah. And I said to him, I was like, you know, as a single person on these apps who's like supposed to be here, right?
Right.
I even find it hard to like they are set up in a way that you are always feeling like you're missing out on something better, because it's just this endless stream of people. And I was like, but the God honest truth is, it's really hard to find a match in life. So I'm just going to throw that out there for you. And then he started responding. He was like, yeah, I guess I can see what you mean, or I can see what you're saying. And then I just wrote like, okay, well, I'm looking for a husband on here, but not one that's already married. So like, we're not a match, but like, good luck to you. I hope that you find everything you're looking for in your life. Like, good luck. And then I just sort of like, you know, it is what it is. Went back today because I got another match, and I looked on there, and he had deleted his account. So I'm hopeful
that you spoke reason to him.
Yeah, maybe he'll tell his friends, and his friends will tell their friends.
That makes me so.
I was so sad.
First off, incredible job, Katy.
Well, I felt like
I don't think I would do that. I would see that and be like, fuck that guy.
Right.
I certainly wouldn't want to waste my time having a conversation with him. He's a scum of the earth. Like, I don't want to engage. But I could see why it would be important to kind of do exactly what you did.
Yeah.
I would not do that.
Well,
so
I think that like
I'm impressed.
I can imagine a lot of people being like, "You fucking piece of shit! Like, why are you even on here?"
Right.
But like, we
to
don't
him like
know
a human
his
being.
scenario. We just don't know what his situation is. And I just was like, honestly, I was like, could I be like a voice of reason? Like, are you gonna fuck up your marriage for nothing? I don't know what it is, but if it's sort of a regular situation and you're just like ready to cheat, maybe this is not worth it. These apps suck.
Right.
Get out of here.
Which one was it? Bumble?
It was Hinge, and Hinge is a pretty good one, but like, so if you're listening out there, if you find this, like, I hope you're well. I hope you're doing okay. Talk to your wife. Figure it out. Get a divorce. It's okay. Whatever you need to do.
People are so afraid to have confrontation with their partners.
They really are. It's really hard.
I mean, I've been guilty of it as well.
I know,
it's just very hard to really confront. But I've made that pact with myself and my partner now. It's if you even for a second, like, you know, meet somebody that you want to explore more with, then just tell me.
Right.
Let's just talk about it.
And I always
because
felt
we're
like,
only human.
And we are
How can you
definitely
be? I can't imagine being in a marriage for 15 years.
Sure.
And let's just say that maybe they stopped having sex 5 years ago.
Right.
And this man is like desperate to
have physical contact.
Yes.
I mean, that's a real thing.
That makes sense.
That's a real thing. And like, but if he can't have a conversation with his wife about it and she's not able to do anything on her end or something, then like they're in a bad place. And then that's when like cheating can happen, I think, too.
Right.
The other thing is like we live in a more and more like liberal environment. So it's possible that he could have a conversation and they could open their marriage up or something and maybe like be really happy and make it work out. I don't know. I don't know this woman. I don't know this man.
But again, we have to have these conversations with our partners. Otherwise, otherwise then it's just cheating.
Right.
And that to me, you're saying right then and there that you have absolutely no respect for your partner.
Right.
Because if you're going to lie to them like that, and then maybe you can fix it in the end, but why not just start off with the conversation of saying, hey, I'm having these thoughts, I'm having these feelings, I need to come.
Right.
It's been a while.
Also, it made me think about other scenarios that I'm aware of where like the wife is maybe like like maybe doesn't like sex, or maybe has like a physical problem where she can't have like intercourse because it hurts, and then like that really puts a damper on the sex life, obviously. But I was thinking about some of our episodes about like sex ed and how like we don't teach people that sex doesn't have to be intercourse.
Right.
So like you could be sexual with your partner and like you never have to have penetration. Like you could buy a fleshlight and work together with it, or you could open your marriage up, or they could do the hand jobs, and you could have like, and then the woman maybe who, if she was uncomfortable with sex, you can make it really comfortable for her, but also like everybody can get off or whatever you want the arrangement to be. So anyway, that sort of opened a whole other thought process for me where like, but if you don't have the conversation, you'll never get there.
Right. And it'll be over before it begins too.
And then everybody hates each other, and like that's terrible.
Right. Well, that leads me to an amazing story.
What's your story?
It's basically, once upon a time I got a Satisfier. I'm never leaving the house, the end.
Oh, so it's good, huh?
Oh my God, you guys.
I need one.
The Satisfier Pro 2, I think that's what I got.
Amazing.
It's nice. It's almost too much.
Oh.
So I have to like learn. I'm learning.
Is there like a
levels.
setting?
Yeah. I'm learning all that.
Maybe you should start low and like work your way up. I guess you probably started on high.
Yeah, I started on high and was like, oh my God, I don't need a man ever again. Oh man, I just highly. But here's the thing that I think for women listening, especially in marriages, maybe this is the kind of toy. By the way, it's a sex toy. If you didn't know,
if you couldn't catch on.
I haven't tried it yet, but it's the kind of toy that if you're with a partner with a penis or a strap-on too, either way, that together, those two together, amazing. I think would be just, so cool.
And men, don't be afraid of introducing sex toys into your
come
room.
on.
Don't be intimidated. It's okay.
Yeah. I had a man buy me the Satisfier, and I told him
that guy gets it.
He gets it. And I said, I still like you. I prefer you, because he was then getting worried. I was like, it's so amazing. Oh my God, I've never felt this way before.
Well, it's like
I think I'm in love.
Experiences.
Anyway, but again, if you're with a partner and you're not satisfied, talk to them. Maybe you can start incorporating some sex toys, the Satisfier Pro 2, and it'll save your marriage.
Please.
Who knows?
Yeah.
All I got to say is you're welcome.
Thank you. I'm going to go out and get one
tomorrow. It's good. It's a good one.
It's exciting.
I have no segue into our topic
this is like
today.
A different topic, but we just thought, I don't know.
No, again, I just have to say, I am always impressed with you having these difficult conversations with people. Because I've been in cabs too with you when, like in Charlotte, North Carolina, we're in the cab and the guy's clearly a Trump supporter and talking nonsense about climate change. And you have a very rational conversation with him. And then in the end, he's like, I never thought about it like that. Well, take care. And then thankfully, you didn't yell at him because you had forgotten your accordion in that Uber.
Particular case, I had lost my accordion in the cab and I had to call him back. And if we had fought about Trump, I would never have seen that accordion back.
But I've seen you do that so many times. And I think that that's a really cool quality, because I'm the kind of person that like I have a harder time engaging, especially with strangers, about those difficult conversations because I don't want to engage.
Yeah,
I'm more of like, but your
yeah.
curiosity is it's a fun to witness, and so
well, thanks.
And I think that maybe if he really did, have a moment of clarity and say, you know what, maybe I should talk to my wife more, or
maybe he just like stuck to Tinder.
Yeah, maybe he's just on Tinder.
He's called a prostitute. I was like, okay, well, do what you gotta do.
Well, I know. Here's a good way to segue.
Okay, let's see. Tell me,
Bumble.
Marie, you're gonna get us. You're gonna get us. You're gonna get us to the segue to this topic.
So while you were swiping, were you listening to music?
No.
Have you listened to Taylor Swift's new album?
No.
So
tell me about it.
It's okay.
Oh yeah. I'm not. I heard a couple of the singles. I was like, no, again.
I love Taylor Swift. Okay, so folks, we're going to be talking music. I don't know. That's not a very good. I don't know.
It's all right.
But I will talk Taylor Swift till I'm blue in the face. I fell in love with her when I was very young. Same age. No, she's younger than me.
Just a baby.
I love Tay Tay, and now she is. I just came out on Forbes. She's like the highest paid female performer ever at $185 million. She made last year, I think. And then the next one under that is Beyonce at $81 million.
Wait, how much was Taylor's again?
$185. And Beyonce is 80.
Well, that's a whole other topic that we'll have to hit another day. But interesting. Good for her.
Crazy.
I guess. Yeah.
But I thought it'd be fun for the listeners to kind of hear our background in music because not only
3 on that list, and we make $70 billion.
$70 billion, you guys.
Hour.
We made so much money because of our music career.
Oh my God. So yeah, we are in the music industry, which again, if you've been listening to this podcast, you may not fully understand that portion of our lives. I don't know if you've never heard of us before. But we are in this band called Reformed Horrors, and we write comedy songs and perform them. And all of our songs are original. People also ask like,
and we do not do parodies.
No, and we also write everything ourselves. Nobody writes for us.
No.
So that's like a whole thing. Where did you start your music career?
Church.
Nice.
Of course. Mom enrolled me and my sisters all in church choir. And I started at like 4 years old. And I do remember it was so cool. And I'm still a very visual learner. But they would teach us to memorize the songs by drawing them as cartoons.
Oh, that's
as children. And so, it was this beautiful, like, there's the choir of angels, and then you're going to be singing about Jesus getting struck down and nailed to the cross. And so it was all, beautiful songs. But yeah, I grew up in the church, and so I started singing at a very early age. But then I always had a good ear, and so I would do all the harmonies. So I was always the alto, doing harmonies.
That happened to me too in choir in high school. Like I definitely am a soprano, like big time, but they always put me in the alto section because I could do harmonies.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that about you.
I didn't even know I was a soprano until later.
Huh.
But I was like, hi guys, what's going on?
I know, and you're like, why are you an alto?
Like,
and then I have to attribute to like wanting to be in a band thanks to Santa Claus.
Like elves came out and were like,
they were like, you should be. Yeah, I was like, what? I want to rock like the elves.
Yeah.
No, one year Santa left a note saying Merry Christmas. Maybe you didn't ask for this, but it sure would be neat for you to be in a family band. And there was a guitar, a triangle, and a tambourine.
Man, I bet your parents regret that big time now. They're like, why did we Santa Claus?
Super big time. Yeah, we were like, it was funny. I was super into it.
Did you play
Santa
the triangle?
wants us to be in a band. A tambourine. I had the tambourine.
Who had the guitar?
Rachel, my older sister. Then Margot got the triangle.
Rachel had to be the heavy on that.
I know.
One. That's like a lot harder to learn the guitar. It's like, come on, Rachel, get it together. It's like, Jesus.
Well, Rachel had a really natural ability with music. My older sister, and she has super long fingers, and so they forced us to take piano, like every child in Nashville, Tennessee, I guess, or Edwardian era. When would they like? When would they like?
When was that? When did they start doing piano lessons?
Or no, I mean, like
deal?
For women to,
I don't know.
Well, like at Downton Abbey, the men would read the books and understand how war works, and then women would be able to play the piano,
with the piano,
and sing opera and walk about the house and draw. No?
Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't there. We need to research that more.
Yeah, probably. Don't quote me on that. Yeah. But yeah, so we played piano, but Rachel was always so talented with that. I'm really, really good at piano with my right hand, but then doing it with the left together. But I played for 8 years.
Yeah.
But you're good at a lot of instruments.
Well, I played piano. I took piano lessons, but I liked taking piano. Mm-hmm. And then I took voice lessons from my piano teacher, which is strange. I mean, she was also a singer, so I was going to make a joke, but the truth is she was great. So I was going to be like, that wasn't, but so I did piano and I started taking voice. I kind of like secretly wanted to sing, and I was afraid to tell my parents in this weird way. So I would like sing. I was like, I'd come home from school and like my parents would be at work and I'd be home alone, and I would just like sing in the hallway until they got home. I did not do my homework and I would just sing all day. And I have all these weird tapes, like recordings. I had a little recorder of me singing the same song over and over and over. I just like try to teach myself.
Do you remember?
I Will Always Love You by Whitney Houston. I just sang it
not a hard one at all.
I know. I was just like going for it. I was not good. I mean, the tapes are atrocious, but it was great. It was a good experience. I had this like goal.
I wish I could edit in that.
If I had
right
one
now.
on me, I like pull it out and play it. It's crazy. But my big thing was that like we had a 7th and 8th grade musical, and I just dreamed of like being the star of that musical. It's all I like wanted. And in 7th grade we did Oklahoma, and I was like, oh, I have to like get Lori, I have to get the big part. And I got up there and I choked so hard. I was like, yeah. I was so nervous. And then they put me in the play. It was like my first big play. And like I watched the video of it a couple years ago, and I'm like staring off into space for half the thing. I'm like not doing the choreography. I was like, how did I get here? Like, how did I get from that to this? I just was a disaster on that show. I had no part really.
Yeah.
And then but I like was really, really wanting to this. I wanted it so bad. So the whole next year, I just sang and sang and sang after school. I didn't tell anybody.
Right.
And then that play, they were doing Peter Pan. And I was like, okay, the main thing I need to do is be loud. For this audition, all I have to do is be loud, and I'll already be ahead of the game. And so I got up there, and I just was like, "I won't grow up." Like just saying like the audition song, and everyone was like, "Oh my god, she is loud. Let's cast her." And then I got Wendy in Peter Pan
in 8th grade.
Yeah,
oh,
so I did
man.
it. I achieved my goal.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
you peaked.
I peaked in 8th
Just
grade.
kidding. No.
Yeah, for sure.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. So that was sort of like my first big musical.
Were you? I mean, I've never gotten the part. Still.
Yeah.
Still have never really gotten the part.
I worked really fucking hard. But it was all kind of quiet. And like, I didn't tell people I was doing this stuff. My parents were like, what is happening? Because I just didn't, I was very shy. I didn't really want people to hear me sing unless I was like, all right, here we go. Like, here's my moment of truth or whatever. Yeah. It's weird. My brain works in mysterious ways. But then I was a music major in college. And then
and dance, right?
And dance. I'm not a very good dancer. I don't like to talk about that anymore. I like to talk about that part.
Yeah. Well, I grew up going to not only choir, but we, again, with my sisters, we did the Nashville Children's Theater camp, summer camp. And I was like 5 years old, and I fell in love with acting then. And they had a lot of older people, but then I was the youngest. And I got my first role was a piece of seaweed in The Little Mermaid. And I did this.
Nobody can see you.
I did. I was like waving in the water.
There you go.
And my mom said I was the best piece of seaweed she'd ever seen.
That's really nice.
It was lots of nice, constant encouragement. But whenever I asked, I would look in the paper for auditions, and I would ask if I could, audition, and they said no.
I wasn't even aware that was. I don't even know if we had that in Maryland. I mean, probably not as much as in Nashville.
Well, Margot, my little sister, auditioned for 3 Men and a Little Lady.
The movie?
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
They cast out in Nashville.
That's exciting.
She didn't get it.
Well, really? I don't know. Amazing.
But then college, I studied theater education and took, did all that theater stuff. But then how we got to the band, that's the thing that I still can't wrap my brain around, because I'm not technically trained, and I was in a band for a hot second in college. We played one gig, and I sang Ghetto Superstar, and then that was it. Our band name was called Brown Sugar, and I was the front girl. I remember getting my nails done. I thought that was very important because everybody would see my nails holding the microphone.
Well, that's good.
I didn't practice much. I was more concerned about the nails. So that didn't work out so well.
Right.
But when we met, I had recently bought a ukulele, because that was when like the ukulele, I guess, started making.
Well, the one thing that's I will say about the ukulele, if anybody's interested in like learning an instrument and doesn't have any background, ukulele is a good place to start.
Yeah,
it is really good.
Babies can play ukuleles.
I mean,
small animals
are able to, train their cat. No, just kidding. That's not true. But it is like
true.
a good.
I think I saw a bird play.
It is
ukulele.
a good like starter instrument, though, or like, and also then you can get very proficient, like Marie has now on the ukulele.
Well, thanks. I should practice more since my finger bled last week when we were playing.
It happens.
But yeah, so I bought a ukulele and then started just teaching myself from YouTube videos, because there's so many music videos. If you pick up any instrument and you need a lesson, just YouTube it. So then I'd always written poems and songs and things growing up. For friends or especially in college, we did a lot of original plays. So I wrote a lot for that. And then I did a theater internship and I wrote a lot for that. So then it wasn't crazy to start writing music, but also it was very strange to all of a sudden be writing music and then playing an instrument and singing it together. But I was cocky. And so I did it and I felt really good about it. And I put it up some videos up on Funny or Die and got some likes and things. And then other friends encouraged me to perform. And so I did this 30-minute show opening for my friend Elizabeth Blue, who we've talked about on the pod. And then I didn't know what I was going to do after that. But then the skies opened up and entered Katie Frame into my life.
Yes.
That party.
Yes. At a party.
At a party where there was a guitar player in the corner that she had met
on the subway.
On the subway that day.
Yeah.
But where were you at, like, in life when we met with music? And
I mean, so I was a music major in college. I'd been doing music my whole life. I'm sort of obsessed with singing and the idea of like, and it's funny in retrospect, like I was sort of ended up doing more like musical theater stuff, but I used to like, listen to like had a Dave Matthews like live concert, and I used to pretend like I was in the band, and I would do like harmonies to Dave, and I pretend like it was me and Dave's band, and I would like imagine being in front of like
Dave Matthews,
Dave and Katy,
Dave and Katie's band.
Called, and like we would like there'd just be like these massive audiences, and like I just never thought that I could actually do that, so I didn't really pursue that. For some reason, musical theater seemed more attainable to me. So that's so funny that we have performed in front of like thousands of people now, which is like, so crazy. But I was studying music, so I knew theory, and like we were. It's funny because I thought like I never felt empowered enough to write particularly. I didn't think that was something that I could do.
Yeah.
And then when we started the band, I was like, the first song I wrote was Drunk Dial, and it was like we still play that song.
Right.
And so I was like, oh my god, I can do this.
Yeah, I played you some songs I'd written, and then the week later you wrote Drunk Dial, and I was like, oh, okay, great. I think I struck gold with this bitch.
Yeah, it was good.
It was very exciting.
And I think I didn't really realize like how much my major is helpful because I can actually like, I don't know. It's been really cool too to like have a reason to write because my development, I think, is like it's really grown a lot, and I've been able to like really do some cool things. I don't know. I'm just really, it's an exciting platform to like have so that you can make your own stuff, and like, and I was always writing like stupid limericks and things as a kid. So that stuff I just like put it all together, and then here we are. It's like easy peasy,
easy breezy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was in comedy groups in college and stuff. So we did a lot of improv, and we would like put these shows together where we started from improv, and then like someone would kind of watch and then write the scene. But it was like we were kind of writing the scene in retrospect. And so like all that, I guess it's just it all just together.
Put it together.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, but I think it's a true testament to like, we always say that it was fate that we met because we instantly clicked in a professional way and a friendship way, but never before had I clicked so much with somebody professionally to be like, let's try to make this thing all of a sudden. Like I'd worked with other friends writing stuff kind of, but nothing to this capacity.
Yeah.
But we were just, when we first started out, it was just really fun.
For
you
sure.
know? I mean,
I remember my favorite story is when we first started, I was like, because when we met, I was like, I met this like cool girl, and I was like telling people about you and whatever. And I was like, we're going to start a band. It's cool. And I like come over, we start this thing. It was fun. We had a good synergy, like whatever. And I'm like, this is great. And I kept coming over every week. And then one day, and I'm like, my new friend Marie. And I was talking about you. And then one day you like look at me and you're like, you know what's great about us? And I was like, what? And you're like, we're not friends.
So
and I was like,
oh
yeah,
oh,
no, we're
no.
not friends. You're like, yeah, we can just work together and not be friends. I was like, yeah, that sounds good.
I'm
Sounds good.
sorry.
Yeah.
But I mean, I have kind of just, I mean, you're my best friend. You're like my sister nowadays. But I don't work professionally with anybody this closely in any other aspect of my life. You know, I had another podcast with a buddy of mine for a year and a half, and it was like, okay, I'm good.
I mean, I think it's always hard to find it's hard to find like partners that work. And we were just sort of lucky that we were very lucky. Right. And also we happened to kind of just be on the same wavelength at the same time. And then we've been able to kind of ride that out.
Yeah.
Which is good.
But navigating the music industry has definitely been hard because we're, flying blind a little bit because we don't know what we're doing.
Well, my big thing that I was sort of thinking about with this topic is that like, the music industry has changed so much too.
Right.
And so like it used to be a thing where, and I remember when we started, it was all about trying to get this like record contract and get a record deal and get whatever. And we also were really lucky at hitting the YouTubes at the right time because like now YouTube is so much about
an algorithm. And
it's not even just the algorithm. It's that like, it's about money now. They want you to like pay for the red material. They're making their own content that they want to push ahead of your content. Record labels are like paying YouTube to push their videos and things first. It used to be this like democratic platform. And you can even see like in our videos, like we had one big viral hit for 500,000 views. And then easily we'd post a thing and then it'd get 10,000 views. No big deal. And now we'll post a thing and we have more fans than ever and it'll get like 1,000 and it'll get stuck there. And you're like, there's something going on. Like that's definitely changed. The industry's changed in that way.
Well, iTunes does the exact same thing too. When an album comes out, a lot of people don't know this, but if you're with a big, distribution company or you're with a big label, they're able to buy plays and get you at number one that very first day. So like with Taylor Swift, it's like, of course she's like on Spotify. I don't know if you've noticed, but it's like all the top songs, like the top 15 songs right now are Taylor Swift. And it's because she made $185 million last year or whatever in music. She has the most money to spend on getting the most plays. So why not just do it? And that's what they're doing. They own the industry. And so it's really, really, really hard for independent artists to break through nowadays.
Yeah.
I mean, even with like Billie Eilish. How old is she? She's 19?
6? I don't know. She's so young.
But she's amazing.
Curious. I mean, her songs
is
are
unbelievable.
amazing.
But I'm curious I don't know what her background is. But she lives in LA. Like, is she a wealthy?
I have no idea.
Is she rich?
I don't know anything about her.
Bad story. I don't know. I don't know these answers. But this is what I'm thinking. She comes from money. Her family are music producers.
I mean, that's possible.
I have no idea.
The other possibility is that like we are in a world right now where like, even though it's not as easy as it used to be on YouTube, like Justin Bieber is a good example of like, he just posted some videos or Bo Burnham, like he was just posting videos and then people saw them and then the companies kind of come in and swoop in and try to like take over your life. But, there is still some ability to get stuff seen with like Twitter and things.
Yes.
It's not impossible. So it's also possible that she was just one of those people. She's got some good shit out there.
I mean, she's amazing and her music videos are unbelievable.
Yeah.
I'm just a pessimist.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, definitely that is a thing that happens too, that, if you have a lot of resources and you get pushed forward, that's like everything in America. It's the way it is. It's funny though, because I was, when we were saying we were going to talk about the music industry and stuff, the story I thought of right away was Tenacious D. Because they had that story, and I couldn't find it, so don't quote me on this, but they had some sort of a situation where when they signed the contract for Tenacious D, the TV show for HBO, they like accidentally like signed the name away. So like HBO was like, we own Tenacious D now. And they didn't realize, and they were trying to make a movie or something. And then HBO was like, no, but they must have bought it back or something because they've done movies and stuff since then. And I cannot find the article that I'd read where it said that. Like it was a couple of years ago I saw that. But additionally, what's interesting about Tenacious D is that they were saying that like, I guess like that TV show was considered a huge flop. They only made 6 episodes, and like I guess it clearly built like a cult following,
right? And
people were like excited about it to some degree, but it was enough for them to now be like international superstars. But they considered that show a flop when it came out, and it's so weird. And then in addition to that, so then they came out with the album after they did the TV show, and the album was like a hit, but again, kind of underground like hit. But then like. They're so famous. Like Jack Black is so famous.
Yeah.
And they just did another tour. Still
how long?
Right. And he just made Jumanji or something. And they pay him like all this money. Like he's still like bringing money into these like box office hits and all that. But so then they had like another album they were trying to put out, and they made this thing called, it was like Apocalypto is like the name of the cartoon, and they were like, we're sitting on gold here, man. We're sitting on gold here, and like everybody's gonna want to buy this. They took it to Netflix, and Netflix like pass.
Oh no!
And then they took it to HBO, and HBO's like hard pass, and they were like, oh my god, like what do we do? And then they put it on YouTube instead. And so I don't think it became this like huge. The other thing about them that's interesting though is that I went and saw that tour, and it was great to see them, but like. The whole first part of the tour was them just playing the web series that they made. And it's so tone deaf. Like there's so many cocks and so many blowjobs and you're like, oh God, guys, you're getting left behind with the like social stuff. But they also like shit on Donald Trump, so that was pretty good. Anyway, the point is that even they, like, the industry is so upside down right now that like it's just, you know, it's kind of still the Wild West, even though
I can't believe that Netflix and HBO would pass on a Tenacious D
they
animated series.
They couldn't either. They were like, what happened?
Huh. Well, I've been reading up on, again, go back to Tay-Tay. So you know that she now doesn't own any of her masters because they belong to her old label. And then her old label just sold it to Scooter Braun is his name.
Right.
And that's like her arch nemesis. Yeah. I mean, a lot of like online bullying between his clients and her. I mean, I don't want to get into it too much because honestly, I don't know that much about it other than her. I watched her CBS Good Morning America interview the other day about Lover, the new album. And she was talking about it a little bit. And she's going to re-record her masters.
That's what I heard.
Which is very exciting.
I'm so curious, though, what that means, though, because you'll re-record them. But then are you going to release them?
Yeah, I would think so.
But then where, like, which one, how do we listen? Like, they're both, there's going to be 2 copies of each song? Like,
wouldn't you want to listen to the newest mastered version of All Is Well?
Wait, no. I mean, are they re-recording or just remastering?
No, I mean, I think that she's going to re-record.
Yeah, I think it's so strange. I mean, I think that that's a great way. It's a great workaround. I think that, like, good for her. Do it.
Right.
I'm so curious of, like, how they release that, though, because it's not that I wouldn't want to listen to it. It's just that, like,
then she's just putting out the same albums over again.
Yeah, it's so weird. It's really weird. And I mean, again, I totally get why she's trying to do that. Like, ownership is such a big deal in music, and that was always something that terrified us, was like signing over our.
And because every contract too does, like, you're signing over. Yeah. Like everybody wanted us to do America's Got Talent or any of those like online competition type shows. And in the contract, it clearly states like, we own you. Right. We own you for like 4 years. I mean, Kelly Clarkson was tied to, was she America's Got Talent?
No, she was American Idol.
American Idol. She was tied to them forever.
Right.
Which is, it helps your career, but then also then what? And then with Kesha, also the whole thing, she signed when she was very young with a record deal for 6 albums. And so she had to produce then 6 albums with, it turned out, the producer that she was working
Dr.
with.
Luke.
Yeah, was.
She claims that he like drugged and raped her.
Right.
We don't know what this whole story is, but that, and because she kept getting like, to take it to court being like, I want to break out of this contract, and they kept being like, no.
Right. And then she would take it back too, or I mean,
and they kept saying that her argument wasn't strong enough. It's like a very strange situation.
Right.
Of course, I'm inclined to believe that what she was saying is true. I think also because these companies tend to eat you up and spit you out.
Right. And they have more power and money, and they can use it against you. I mean, one of the judges that ruled against her in New York City was married to a Sony exec.
Right. So I mean, like, that's the thing. It's like there's like definitely conflict of interest happening there. Well, that's another thing that's sort of interesting to me about how the industry and the entertainment industry in general, this happens like all the time, where these young kids get taken up by the industry, they get really famous, and then they like lose their minds, like Lindsay Lohan or whatever. But I looked up, it made me think about Britney Spears. And I was like, what was the deal? Like, what was going on there? And I was, I guess we all kind of know, but like, you know, when she like shaved her head and like was sort of like,
yeah, what happened?
Then
did you find out?
Well, I mean, they were just saying that like the pressures and stuff were getting to her. What she really only ever wanted was to be married and have a family and have a normal life. And her friend was saying like, you know, she would always talk about that, but we all kind of knew that just like wasn't really in the cards for her. And then she met Kevin Federline, and he was like a loser, but they had 2 kids. So she thought she was like getting the thing that she wanted. But then when her like marriage started falling apart, she like lost her mind. She was just like, I don't know what my life is for. She felt like people were always touching her. People are bossing her around. People are telling her what to wear. They're telling her where to go. Her life was not her own. She felt like a doll. Like she didn't feel like, and the truth is like they just don't care. Like they don't care about her.
She
they
just
make
posted
money.
The other day on Instagram of, about the trolls, basically, of like, I love engaging with my fans. I love being here. I love creating art. But then I start reading the comments, and it gets me so sad, and I try not to look at them, but they're in my face all the time, you know? And so I don't know. She really was our pop princess, and now we've kind of chewed her up and spit her out.
For sure. I mean, for
and
sure.
now we don't, you know,
and nobody
bless
cares
her heart.
anymore. We moved on. Now we're talking about Taylor Swift and Billie Eilish, and, you know, like, we don't think about, like, her anymore.
Right.
And she's like a person, you know?
I know.
But we've actually seen firsthand, I will not go into the details of this, but, like, we've seen firsthand the makings of, like, or like the trappings of like management and teams sort of putting the money before the artist. Mm-hmm. And we know someone that was, I think, treated like a piece of meat, basically, and pushed beyond their limit. And then that person actually ultimately passed away. And like, that really made me angry that, like, this person was in trouble as an artist, and they were like definitely like needed help. They needed, like, you know, there's always like drugs and alcohol involved in these things. Someone needed to stop and go like, hey, like, are you okay? Do you need like a break? Do you need whatever? But instead it was like, they'd be like, you have another show. You have another show tomorrow. You have another show tomorrow. And they couldn't handle it. And then they died.
Right.
So like, it's a real, and like, I mean, people like, what's her name? I'm no good. What's her name? Amy, people like Amy Winehouse. Right. Yeah, she's somebody that I think that, like, drugs and alcohol kind of got into her life, with or without the industry, but like that she needed to not be, someone needed to be in there, like, helping her, like, whatever. But then she's on tour still, and she's doing this, and I wonder about what her, like, team, how they were sort of dealing with her at that time. I don't know. I mean, I don't know for sure in that case.
Right.
So
we're just speculating, guys. But
speculating with that. But I'm just saying that, like, people are not, they're commodities. And we've also felt the pressures of, like, teams trying to, like, get you to do something you don't want to do. And we were lucky that we were not children.
Right.
You know,
we were lucky we had each other.
Yes.
I think that if we had been alone, you're coerced into believing these powerful men. There's a lot of men involved, and they know better. You think that they know better than you, or that they have your best interests at heart. But a lot of times they don't. It's just money.
Yeah.
I remember, so our second album, we got to record in Nashville, Tennessee at the RCA Studio A. And it's a legendary, very famous studio where, like, cool Chet Atkins played. I mean, everybody. Johnny Cash. What's the guy from Star Trek?
Oh, yeah. What's his name? What is his name? Oh, God. The guy that talks sort of like this.
Yeah, what's his name?
He sang all his songs. What is his name? Chris? No. Shatner. William Shatner.
Yes.
William Shatner.
He recorded there.
Amazing.
Amanda Palmer, Casey Musgraves. So it was really, really exciting. Ben
Folds had been, like, using the studio pretty full time too, but that was really exciting.
Yeah, it was his studio. He was leasing it.
All his pianos were in there. It was neat.
It was very cool. But I have to say, you know, reading about the percentages of female producers versus men, I mean, it's like very, very small percentage of female producers nowadays. I mean, still, even 2019, especially sound engineers, I think it's like 5% in the industry are women. And again, like, we had all men involved.
Yeah. Yeah.
in the making of our albums.
Didn't know, like, we didn't have, we had a friend that helped us set up with the connection. So we didn't have a lot of control over who we got.
Right.
We ended up having an amazing group of people. We loved all of them very much. And they were incredible to work with. But yes, there were no women there.
Yeah.
Or people of color.
Right.
It was, you know, Nashville.
But this is something also that now going into our third album, we are aware of this. Like, you know, I pride ourselves. We're producers. We're female producers in this small 5% of us in the music industry.
Yeah,
we're songwriters. There's a way larger percentage of men as songwriters. Don't get me started about the Grammys. It's like women are never, especially for producers and stuff. But yeah, I mean, I remember in Nashville we were so excited, and then this man that we were kind of working with in the industry, he stopped by the studio, and I just remember, like, feeling powerless in the way, because if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't be in this awesome studio. But also his presence was hurting our performance in some way, because it was distracting, and not having
energy there.
Yeah, but not having enough, like, gumption to speak up and say, you know, actually, like, we're paying for this. It's our money. You're not.
Right.
Like, you might have helped with a little bit of a favor, but can you leave?
Yeah.
You're distracting.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's of any interest to anybody, but
well, I mean, I think that what is sort of interesting then is like, okay, so if you're out there trying to like start a band or do a thing or make a project and you're like, I don't know where to start. And like, you know, you can be pessimistic about it and be like, oh, this industry, I'll never break in or I'll never be able to do this. I'll never be able to do that. There are a lot of options. Like, first of all, make your art, period.
Make your art.
Do it. Don't let other people tell you how to make your art. Don't get wrapped up in like don't worry so much about, don't change yourself because some industry guy says you should do it like this. You should cut your hair. You should lose weight.
No.
I think we're done with that. I think we should all just say no to that from here on in and just do our things because they don't actually end up knowing better. I think all the time, sometimes you're really lucky and you have a really, really smart manager or agent that gets what you're doing.
Or Casey Musgrave's stylist right now is killing it.
Yeah. And we also know like we had an agent at one point who was so awesome and so like got us.
Yes.
And that was like just felt so good. And he was empowered and he was a man and
but he empowered us and cared about our opinions.
So that's what you want if you're going to be working with people and all that. And I will say that like we don't have any our albums aren't on a label, like we don't have any representation right now. And we do it all ourselves and it's like you can do it.
Right. Well, especially now you have Spotify, everything's online. You can manage yourself, and we book our own tours. We took ourselves to Edinburgh. We produced our shows there.
And definitely we're giving like the industries a run for their money because there's more and more these artists are not signing with labels and they're like, you know what? I don't need you.
Right.
I make all the money now instead of having to give you any of it.
Right.
And I just don't need you. So I think that like that's not, I know people are freaking out that the music industry is like crumbling. It's like, no, the industry is crumbling, but the music is never going to go anywhere. Right.
And that is a good reason why people should follow us on Patreon.
Absolutely. That helps.
Because again, we are independent artists and we aren't with a label or anything like we just said. There was a really cool story of a band in Nashville, Delta Ray, and they did a crowdfunding thing, and I think that they made like $350,000 when they were just really asking for $100, and so now they're able to do everything that they've ever wanted. They're gonna film a horror musical.
That's fun.
We've always wanted to do a horror movie.
Yeah.
A reformed horror.
Yeah, reformed horror.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think thankfully there are these crowdsourcing websites like Patreon or GoFundMe or Kickstarter. All that stuff allows us to kind of take out the middleman and create our own art for the fans and not let people take away.
No, totally.
Our dignity.
But again, if you have a good offer for us.
Yeah. We have a third album just sitting there.
Also,
we need to.
Yeah, we're business ladies too, so we get it.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, if anybody has any ideas.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I just hope people feel empowered by, you create your art. Don't let the industry tell you can't.
Yeah.
If you have questions.
One final note on Tenacious D that I thought was interesting. Apparently, so they're still with their label.
Oh, yeah?
And they were saying that, like, I guess that the deal was it was a 7-record deal. And they're only up to 4.
Oh, geez.
And they were saying, like, if at this rate, our, like, next album will be, like, 69 or whatever, 78 or whatever. It was sort of funny that, like, they are still, the deal's still they're still stuck to that deal. But, wow. We'll see. The man never finished it. It's fine.
I can't imagine signing like a 6-7 album
deal.
deal.
Would be like, I don't know if I have that many albums.
I'm like, let's just do one
know.
for starters. I don't know. It's
great.
Cool.
Well,
I feel lucky to have you to be by my side.
Me too.
Navigating this crazy world called showbiz.
Right.
Anyway,
here's a song to play us out that we wrote.
Enjoy.
Yeah.
Sick and tired of the same routine and craving something new. I thought that it might be time to switch up the menu. My heart's been chopped and shredded and tossed and diced and julienne by you. I'm gonna 8 out 6 your text tonight and do what I gotta do. 5-course meal that's finger